I want to begin by complimenting our guys. I thought our approach, our discipline was as good as it's been this year, and especially against a program and group that we really, really respect. And you could tell our guys, their antennas were up to rise to the challenge on Thornton, and then Mobley had his way with us in Royal. That 1-2-3 combination is probably as good as any in the league, and I thought we did a really nice job of staying down on shot fakes and making them score over bodies. And on a night when we made shots, we're pretty tough to beat if we can be that disciplined and shoot well from the three. So I'll begin with questions.
Tell me. Yeah, Dusty, you were talking about their big three. Your big three out-rebounded their team 32 to 31 this afternoon. Could you feel yourselves sort of overwhelming them?
I mean, it's a lot of it is just our effort going is, and number one, we're taking better shots and we're getting better movement. Our spacing's improving. I've been frustrated at times this year with our spacing and our ball movement, and it seems like now we're settling in to what we're looking for, and the guys are finding another level of connection playing with each other. And then when you do that, you're in the flow, you're cutting, you're in motion, so you're able to rebound the ball. And when you have the size, strength, and athleticism that we have, if those things are happening and taking place, you're gonna be in position a lot. And just it's a testament to them. We look like we're getting in better shape. We look healthy. We look bouncy, and most importantly, our determination has been really, really great lately on the offensive glass. And for us to max out as a group, we need to be an elite offensive rebounding team.
Anybody have a question? Yeah. Turn this around pretty quickly. What was the plan going in? I know that's maybe a 2-hour conversation, but over the last couple of seasons, what did you
Well, my transition was really unique, that we went from a low major at FAU to a high major at FAU in a matter of a calendar year. And so I was living the metamorphosis. Typically when you get a job like Michigan, you haven't had the stress and the problems, issues that we had at FAU. We were on the other side of all the other things. And so I was able to really spend a year without the spotlight, thinking about things and processing. And then when we got the job, we said, we're going to recruit this and this. And once we get that, we can spread out. But we're going to get this. And then the way we played last year, we fell in love with a certain style of play and an identity, and felt like we can be really big and fast. And so, there wasn't this master plan. We brought in good dudes who worked and wanted to build something together. And then because of the team last year, and we had a good group, and the way they played, and I do think our staff does a great job at development. And even when it's not going well for our guys individually, we're pouring into them every single day. Our temperature never changes. And so we do feel like we have an attractive product right now. We have the brand of Michigan. We have an unselfish group, and the leadership in our locker room and the giving that goes on is second to none. And so, I don't want to make a long story short, but we were able to get some really good people in, including the staff and foundation players, and then it just grew from there.
James?
Dusty, I guess just with a guy's three-point shooting, was there something you saw in this matchup coming into it that you think of, or
Yeah, I would love to celebrate me. No, that's all him. I'm frustrated, and we've spent a lot of time with him working on his three, because we want that to be a part of his game going forward. And sometimes if you just give a guy a little bit of ice cream, then they'll eat the broccoli and the protein to get to that point. And so that's how I've always looked at it. And he hasn't shot very many, and he hasn't shot them in pivotal times. And we have a camera in our locker room for home games, and whatever time a guy goes out, I'm watching film and tidying up some things. I look up on the screen, and he's doing nothing except shooting threes. So I told him I wish there's a little more variety in his pre-game routine, but that's his time. And so it paid off for us tonight, because those 2 threes are big. There's always an overreaction, just like there is when Tilly bangs in a couple on us to other teams' bigs doing that. The Wisconsin game, our one loss, we were going back and forth. Do we change what we're doing, or do we just trust that these guys that haven't made shots with good percentage or volume can keep doing it? And they were able to do it. And tonight, Tilly didn't get very many, but our closeouts were much better in the second half.
What
Dusty, 7'3" guys making three-pointers is rare, but
Just now that he has to, how much of a threat do you think that makes him and your team, just a guy that big with a shooting range like that?
He does so many things well. Obviously, we want him to fall into them. We want no-turn threes. We want paint-touch threes, and we want them at the right time. And each game dictates something different. I was more impressed with this rim protection, with the way he was running the floor. If he runs the floor and puts pressure on the rim, he's a force, and he's starting to do that more frequently. He's on the offensive glass now at an 80 to 90% clip, and it used to be about a 50-50 coin flip whether he was going to even just get in the fight or not. And so he's come a long way. Proud of the big fella. He's got a long way to go, but he has an extremely high ceiling.
Dusty, there's always changes to be made when you're playing someone for a second time. What were the biggest things that you focused on that you thought would be different from Ohio State compared to 18 days ago when you saw them?
Well, schematically, the beautiful thing about what we do is we don't change a lot game to game. There's usually a couple things, and because of, I guess, our random offense and random defense, it's playmaking on both sides of the ball, and it's decision-making on both sides of the ball. Because of that, we don't have to spend a lot of time scouting and preparing for schemes. But we do have to spend time scouting and preparing for contingencies and things that will hurt what we do. And so we'll spend majority of our time with, okay, this is going to be a disadvantage, and now here's how we're going to have to fix that disadvantage. And then the rest of it is just guys out there playing off of each other. And obviously the more reps they get together, the better they are. But does that answer the question?
Was there anything when you prepared for Ohio State, like when you were watching them on film or just in general scouting, did they look different? Was there anything different that you thought you could exploit that you weren't able to the first time?
We did a nice job on Mobley tonight. We didn't in game one. We thought Tilly would shoot some threes. Other than that, I think, every game there's matchups. Like Wisconsin wasn't a good matchup for us in that game, and they might not be again if we see them in the Big Ten tournament. I don't think we're a good matchup for Ohio State. They have these guys that are Thornton's a running back, and Royal and Mobley's causes so much stress on your defense, and so not many teams have a 6'9", 2-3 like Yaks. I know he played 5 in American Conference and Conference USA, but he's a wing. Not many people have a 6'9", whatever he weighs, wing that can hold ground and make plays. So I do think that's a big part of our success against Ohio State. Is simply it's a good matchup for us because of the way we're built, and that's not always the case.
Got time for a couple more, Xavier?
Yeah, hey Dusty.
Hey, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about how your bigs sort of facilitated offense tonight, not just for themselves, but also for the other shooters on the floor?
Yeah, we our numbers. I think the first game against Ohio State, we were 0.90 on the first side, and we were maybe 1.5 and 1.4 on the second and third side. And so I thought our bigs, especially Merez, he's doing a great job of connecting the group. And like I said, when we can find a little bit of rhythm together, then we're going to be cutting our bodies in motion, and we're going to offensive rebound a lot better. We're going to have better floor balance. And so that's the thing that we've been lacking. And there have been times when I've called too much stuff to get us organized. There have been times when it just stuck on one side. And I think our guys are really getting a grasp for what each other's doing and finding the matchups quicker and flow, because it's hard to find, when you play as fast as we do, we're top 10 in tempo, it's hard to find every matchup advantage or whatever the case. And so our guys this late in the year are starting to find those much quicker and than we did earlier.
Take one final question.
Jake's talked a lot about wanting this rivalry to be played twice a year. He's mentioned you also talking to Big Ten about that. Now that you've done it, seen both of them, obviously you win the game, but just what do you make of this rivalry going forward and the hope that you can do this more often?
Well, number one, I grew up in the heyday of Ohio State basketball. I mean, I remember Dennis Hobson and Jay Burson and those guys, and then obviously the Jimmy Jackson group and all that. So I have a lot of respect for this university, this program, and obviously with the football component being I don't know how many millions of people watched that game, and then you factor in how much it's just a healthy rivalry, and you're not supposed to like your rival. We like those guys as people, but this is it's a fun game. Whether we lost by 1 tonight, this is a healthy game, especially now when the leagues are so big. There's not much regional rivalries. I love the fact of playing the traditional Big Ten teams as many times as we can, just because it's better for our fans. There is still a little bit of nostalgia. I'm not a nostalgic guy, but there is still a little bit of nostalgia to playing Ohio State twice and Michigan State twice, and whoever's the closest in proximity that we've played for the most amount of years, I'm all for that. And obviously too, like It's CBS. The networks want to pick this game up because it's important. It's well watched, and so that's part of our job as well.
Okay, Coach.
Thank you, guys.